All right, look. Hey, put your glasses up, y'all boys. Hey, look. Hey, hey, look. This is a long time coming. You know what I'm saying? Glad to have y'all boys in it. You know what I'm saying? About to be a good conversation. We about to talk some real stuff, and we about to get into it. Let's get it. Hey.
Peace, bro. Salute.
Assalamu alaikum. All right. Hey, we back, and we got a nice one for y'all. We're gonna switch the topic a little bit. We're gonna head a little more cultural on the topic. We got some really special guests. We're gonna introduce them right quick. Matter of fact, we'll let y'all introduce yourself, fellas. Go ahead. We start from the left here and go on to the right.
We're gonna run it back to what it is, what it do, what's popping. It's your boy Marquise Q in the building.
It's your boy Easy.
Yo, what's good in the hood? It's your boy Young Rated. We here again.
Hey, yes sir. This is the Weight of the 8 podcast, gracing us with their presence. Y'all boys, we in an undisclosed location. Thank y'all for being on first and foremost. We got a whole lot to talk about today, and you know, first of all, we'll start off with kind of what y'all. I want y'all to introduce y'all podcast. Just kind of tell what's y'all kind of core audience, what y'all talk about, and kind of just the whole inception of the group.
Sheesh. Way of the 8 is basically our South Carolina platform. It's just us kind of giving back and showing recognition. You know, one of the things that kind of brought Way of the 8 together was just our love for our state, and we just wanted to put people on. And from there, it just kind of started with our music. We got a lot of community behind us, and we were able to kind of express our ideas. And from there, we were lucky and graceful enough to have a platform with our neighborhood. And that's really what Way of the 8 is about, is just showing that love, showing that recognition, and just showing that grace over and over again.
Really bloomed in the pandemic. That's one of the best things about this podcast that came to life. Like, it grew when everything was shut down, and then, you know, had some good guests, talk about music, talk about everything that Eric was talking about, politics, just SC. And it really just started and Heartbreak Hotel, ain't it? 1, 2, 3.
I forgot that was the name.
You know only certain about 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it was definitely, you know, something that, you know, we was already having the real conversation that we're having right now. Derek was on on one episode for sure, and Dejan Smoke. And since then, man, it's just been growing and whatnot. And, you know, it started with the brotherhood. It didn't just start with, like, you know, people just want to start a podcast. It was more so like, you know, we was already having a real conversations, was already like kicking and whatnot. So we might as well just like hit the record button and, you know, invite the neighborhood to what we talking about.
Yeah. And you know, I think we want to kind of hop in on that and take a little bit of a deeper dive, because obviously music is the genesis of, you know, y'all's podcast, but even more so, that's going to be the topic of conversation today. And, you know, we've been talking for a little minute. You last couple of really all day for real. We've been talking about music. We talking about albums and stuff like that. So let's start at the top. Let's start at the top. We'll kind of work it out in layers. What's spinning heavy for y'all right now?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, I mean, spinning that. Okay.
If you got like
this
year,
like,
I mean, yeah. What's some of the stuff that, you know, came out this year that's just like, you know, that's been heavy in the rotation.
I would say I like Gunna Project.
Okay.
I feel like Gunna Project is good.
You just want to start out with it.
I mean, let's go ahead and just break the conversation on what everybody want to talk about.
Hold on, before we get into that.
Okay. Yeah, everybody.
What's your other ones? If you got some more.
I like Black Project. Y'all listen to R&B. If y'all
since I had a lover,
Come on.
It's a good one.
That's a great project. I like that project a lot.
It's
to be
all right.
honest.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's all right.
I like that project a lot.
We get into it.
I like Dirt Project, but it's not better than Thugs or Gunna.
But you like it.
But I like it.
We go. Well, hold on, because we got. Let's not jump the gun here. So.
With Utopia, man. Travis came back to the scene. Rollout was great. I feel like Utopia is something that a lot of people weren't expecting. I think it went into the realm of psychedelic rap. We was talking about subgenres of rap earlier, and I feel like, you know, Kanye. A lot of people say this album had a lot of Kanye influence, and I can understand that. But I feel like Travis still did it his own way. Larry June project, The Great Escape, I've been bumping that a lot lately. I feel like Larry June is perfectly describing what I'm doing in my life right now, trying to get to the bag, trying to do numbers, trying to just, like, you know, have a better self of, like, everything holistically. So, yeah, that's me.
Already. I say for myself, the Don Toliver project, Love Sick, including the deluxe. Just seeing what he did coming off of Life of Dawn and this project right here, it's probably undoubtedly the best album this year that's come out. It's just concise. It's got all the right features and everything. Other projects I'm listening to would be Jackman by Jack Harlow. You know, I was.
A lot of people are talking about that.
That's
We're gonna unpack that.
That's really one of the
That's one of the
We're
ones.
gonna unpack that. So Quan,
Yes, sir.
what's in your rotation right now?
Shoot, I ain't gonna lie. I've been running that Pink Tape by Uzi. I know it's
Wow.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It ain't for everybody, and I can understand that. It's not for everybody. I think it falls in this. I love the blending of genres.
Yeah.
I do enjoy like a good blend of genres.
For sure.
And I think it's a good mesh between like, you know, rock and roll, alternative music, hip hop. It's a lot of, you know, how much he's paying to other artists and things like that, whether it's rock bands or other hip hop artists. So that's getting spins for me. It's getting spins, I'm not gonna lie. You mentioned the R&B though.
I want y'all to know that he got his he got his library pulled up right.
Hey, I don't want to look. I don't want to miss nobody.
I'm trying to read his notes.
But there's an album I sent you the stuff, Derek. The Kamari Cat. What is his name? These Four Walls. Kamari. What's
That's
the
the name of the
album?
song.
What's the album name?
I never heard this guy.
I know what you're talking about.
These Four Walls by Kamari.
I think
He has a colors actually.
It's
You
not
should check it out.
self-titled, is it?
Okay.
Okay.
It's not self-titled.
Okay, I got you. It's called A Brief Nirvana. That's
A
what it's
Brief
called.
Nirvana.
A Brief Nirvana.
Kamari.
Yeah.
That's
Check
the
it
name of the
out.
album?
Yeah.
A Brief Nirvana.
It's a I'm not gonna cut you off, but it's a good album.
It's-
I actually had that on my
Yeah.
list of stuff that I was listening to.
It's really good. You can tell he's got a little bit of
You
like.
remember the name of it, so how good it really is.
I'm about to do my own little research.
I just type in the name and I let it ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a brief Nirvana, so you forget. Like it's like that. It's take it to another place.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's good.
It'll put you in an introspective place. I would
Definitely.
say. So,
Okay.
Definitely.
I'll probably put that one on my list.
What is the SAT words?
I'll probably put that
That's
one
on
on my
album.
list.
That's on what you're spinning.
Kamari, yeah.
Okay.
Because I am, but it's really just been a lot more alternative music for me, really, lately, which is surprising. Because I'm really the creature of habit, like. But
Yeah, real quick, let me throw one more in there. I want to throw
Go for it.
I Cry Alone, Legend A. That's just been.
I was gonna say, I didn't know. I thought you was asking
Fantastic.
what project.
Fantastic project.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
But yeah,
well, so
I agree.
And I think this is
I agree.
this is a good space to probably put some notoriety on some local rappers.
sure.
We're gonna talk about that, and we got I'm about to give away too much sauce.
we're gonna
right
get
now.
to that.
Hold it.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Hold
Come
it.
on.
Let me back up. All right, cool. So yeah, Kamari's album, Killer Mike's album, Killer Mike's album. It just like I don't see it having a lot of spinability. I don't see it being one of those ones that's gonna be playback.
Inability.
I don't know if that's a
crazy.
word.
That's
Hey,
dope.
if it ain't a word, then I'm gonna need to trademark that. But anyway,
Writing check.
um,
Writing
for real.
check.
But yeah, that's like that album is just like in so many different ways. Man, it just was right what I needed. It was right when I needed it. Just
It's because you like country music? Because you
It's-
say you like alternative, so what's like what do you gravitate towards?
I would say traditionally I'm gravitating more towards it's not I won't even say conscious rap, it's just rap, hip hop in general. That's gonna be like what my first nature is. I just got exposed to this or I guess reintroduced I would say to this alternative music scene.
What are
right
you
now.
considering alternative
So
music?
like so like
That Uzi Bull.
Sanford no bro.
I'm curious to know for real.
Sanford what's my guy's name? Thundercat. I've really been listening to a lot of Thundercat lately.
Okay.
They technically put Sabrina Claudio in alternative music. I feel like she's more of an R&B singer.
Yeah, I say
personally.
R&B.
But a lot of her.
There's
songs-
alternative R&B.
Okay. You put me on Kirby. Is that the name of it? Kirby. The person that sang Kirby is like
Oh shoot.
not. All right. I'm trying to give
Pull
you.
it up.
I'm trying to give you credit.
Pull it up. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Said it's on
They're like,
Kirby.
I helped you. Now, come on, you gotta help me.
I'm about
I'm
to
saying.
say.
Yeah.
They didn't
Remember
tell us that
Velvet
they was
remix?
talking about who we just be
High-Price
spinning.
That wasn't me.
You did,
That wasn't me.
bro.
That wasn't me, bro. I don't know that song.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna show you on camera. I'm gonna show you the messages because you sent this. You sent this to me.
I don't think so, bro.
Anyways, so
I drunk?
So anyway, I say I say that to say that's been a heavy album in rotation. Those two for sure. But beyond that, I really just been going back For real, bro. Like a lot of the old stuff that's just good stuff has just been
Wasteland.
in rotation. Wasteland, I have been listening to Wasteland. You got to be careful listening to Brent Faiyaz though, because if you ain't in the right headspace,
You gonna go out there.
Brent Faiyaz will have you.
I feel like regardless of what headspace you in, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's just in my opinion.
I think so too.
However I'm feeling, I can listen to some.
What's the one song that y'all play off there like all the time?
Yeah,
Rolling Stone.
Wasteland.
Addictions.
Addictions.
Either Rolling Stone or what's the one?
That was the first
I'm playing
leak.
Rolling Stone a lot.
Rolling Stone.
Addiction was the first leak of Wasteland, you know?
I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
Addictions really.
And it
And Gravity.
It didn't even sound like
Gravity.
Okay, so hold on, I gotta back up because you got Gravity, you got Rolling Stone, then you got Jackie Brown. I love Jackie Brown.
I love Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
Bro.
Jackie
Jackie
Brown
Brown
is
is
probably
amazing.
one of the best Brent songs, period.
Yeah.
Jackie Brown is good.
Jackie Brown holds a special place in my heart because me and Eric did like the little stem like rendition like remix thing on
Yeah,
it,
man.
and bro that song holds a special place in
still
my
got
heart.
that?
I definitely still got it.
All right, so let's go deeper. Let's go deeper a little bit here. I think the topic that we want to get into, we was already on it a little bit before we started the episode. You know, two of the hottest names in the game both dropped projects fairly close to each other this year, and you know, Gunna and Young Thug's albums, they've been the topic of debate on social media for a while. So I think it's a consensus right now from everybody in the room except for one person, and y'all gonna figure that out if y'all ain't already. That
It's me.
I'm him.
Thug's album is 1B and Gunna's album is 1A. So let's just I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna just drop it there and put it in the atmosphere.
I want to say I don't think it's one. You're saying 1B and 1A in the sense that those are the two best ones.
No, I'm saying 1B and 1A as if like if they were on par for like their like these two albums. Okay,
I think they're both
let's make it
extremely-
simple. Let's just make it simple.
You speaking for YSL.
I am YSL is not a game. All right, I ain't.
Wait.
Yes,
I am
ma'am.
not.
I think
I am not
think
affiliated with YSL.
my take on it. Y'all wait for this. Hold up.
I would just say Thugs is first. Gunna's first, Thugs is second. That's what I was, and we can kind of go from there with it.
You know, I feel like in this conversation, narrative is extremely important. I feel like when you kind of listen to these projects, like Gunna was isolated from everybody. Nobody was messing with Gunna as far as like in his regular circle. And for him to put out such a quality of work that he did, well, basically, this is all Gunna. It's like almost 13 songs with just Gunna, and to see him kind of be on the same par as where he was, you know, it's not like you expected a real fall off with his lyrical ability, but just to see that he can still carry it over, given everything that's happened and the public reception behind it. I feel like that just weighs into this. Now with Thug's case, I feel like he did give us a lot of like with the features, and, you know, the Drake ones are probably the highlights for me, but it just, I mean, it's kind of obvious there. But it's just, I feel like from Thug, as far as giving everything, I wanted a little bit more. And I feel like, you know, given the situation, I understood where he was at, but that's why.
situation.
Nah,
One's out, one's in. You know what I'm saying?
go ahead. Talk that talk, George.
What are we asking? Which one do I think is the best?
Yeah,
Which one's better?
simple.
What's the
We
context
just
now?
we gonna take it there, and you can go.
So we're just gonna give 4 perspectives of why Gunna's is better, and then I gotta defend Thug on myself.
No, I'm not.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm gonna be honest. If we actually didn't think that Gunna was gonna come and do this, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody low key expected it to be good. Like, do y'all really think that Michigan made what was the account?
Michigan made two times and
time
three
three, time
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Y'all think that was by chance? All that was unreleased music. If he would have dropped all of that as the project, we would have been loving it. He gave us some whole new you know what I'm saying? And really addressing the, you know, I ain't really about to get into the
logistics
you
of
know what I'm
it.
saying? I might get all the politics up and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Be telling that they actually know and be still with. So we're not talking about Gunna. We ain't even
Yeah, I'm not talking about none
You know
of
what I'm
that.
saying? We
Yeah, I
not
don't care about
even
none of that.
in.
Q, speak your mind. What you got?
I'm a free man.
Yeah, facts. I think Gift and the Curse is definitely some of Gunna's like most recently hardest stuff. I can just go by the songs. Go Crazy, Fuck You Mean, of course. I just want to ask, are we allowed to curse on this podcast? Because I haven't heard you.
Derek gonna edit it
I ain't
out.
heard nobody swear yet.
Derek gonna edit it out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fuck You Mean.
With the bleep noise.
No, it's
With the bleep noise is hard.
It's on there. We gonna put an X up.
With the bleep noise hard now. Come on.
Champagne delay. That's how they work.
What is wrong with this man?
Gonna give you the little scatter mouth.
Put way late over it.
That'd be hard.
That's Brandon.
Hey, no.
But back to the original point. So fuck you mean, go crazy. Rodeo Drive is hard to. Bottom, Back to the Moon. Yeah. But overall, I think if the placement of songs, if Metro gave us what we wanted initially when it dropped, I feel like it would have been like a lot more publicly received by, the public. But the fact that we got the record label's version and then we got Metro's version after that, it's kind of like
You speaking of Thugs?
Yeah, Thugs.
Okay.
Yeah, the fact that we got 2 different versions of it, and the better one dropped last, so we already had our first impression of the when it dropped initially.
I didn't even download it.
You didn't download it?
Because
the Metro
first one. Yeah, I didn't even download.
The Metro's version, like the songs flow more into each other, like it makes more sense. But I mean, outside of that though, I think Gunna back. I fuck with Gunna more than I fuck with Thug right now.
Now you'll be interested to hear that I'm not going to sing praises to this like you expecting. Okay. Right? So this is what I will say. What I will say is I do give his the nod over Thugs, but what I'll also say is they both was not their best.
They both was mediocre to me.
They both was some mid in my opinion. I'm down. I'm not.
Gunna was mid.
It's not like come on, and we are. I'm comparing this.
He's weighing it against his body of work, right?
For sure. Hold on. Okay. His body of work and the rest of that came out in the last 9 to 12 months. I'm weighing it against all of that. I don't think it's better than half of the stuff that came out in the last year.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
The Michigan made. Oh, you ready? You ready? Spaghetti and gotta just set it for ready. I don't know the words, but yeah, like that go crazy.
Bro, we was trading off a lot of those songs too.
We definitely was.
We definitely was.
Banks Don't Close or what's the name?
Yeah, all that. So, I will say that they weren't their best body of work. But if I had to go, the lesser of two evils, I'm gonna give the Gunna album a nod.
I'm not understanding. I don't understand what I'm not hearing. That everybody's hearing to say this album is so good.
I'm not understanding what I'm not hearing.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand what I'm not hearing.
It makes sense.
I don't know what I don't know right now. Cause I'm listening to this, and y'all know JT loved Gunna. He didn't pull up to my crib on multiple occasions and play this album for me, and it's just boring to me. It's boring to me. It feels, a lot of songs feel very flat, in my opinion. It's not a lot of, to me, not a lot of range on it. He did what Gunna does in a very, flat manner, in my opinion. I've heard him have better range on other albums, so I know he can do it. I'm not saying he can't. I don't think this album had it for me. I'm not hearing it in the beats and the instrumentation, none of that. It's boring to me.
Would you go ahead?
It just sounds like you're listening to it, and as you're listening, you're comparing it to his old stuff. I feel like you have to really take it as a brand new listen. I feel like there are some things that would be different and missing. That's why I was speaking earlier when we were talking the features, the Wheezies, the lack of babies or thugs on there. I feel like that plays a part into Gunna's identity. So is it that what's missing for you?
No. I think this goes more into my style of music that I like, for one, right? I don't listen to a lot of conscious rap. This isn't a conscious rap album, but I don't listen to that conscious rap. I listen to music, I listen to hip hop and rap, less so for necessarily the message that is getting across, but the actual artistry that they're using in that. How are they using their voice, octaves and instrumentation and things like that. I'm listening for that too. That plays a heavy role in it to me, and this album didn't give that. So if you put this on and I had no idea who Gunna was, I'd be turn that shit off.
Do you like experimental music? Do you like when artists go outside their norm and
Yes, 100% I do.
Everything that you said makes sense of that.
Does that get more points for it to be something they're trying new versus staying in their lane but just being better at that? Do you give them more credit because they tried something?
I feel like that's what he's doing. He's giving them credit for standing outside.
Yeah, I think so. That's exactly what it is. That's why I like the pink tape. That's why I think I like the pink tape.
You listen to dead ass Gunna, and you I don't really like serious Gunna.
He didn't step outside of himself. He didn't try nothing new. That's why you don't like it.
Nobody was expecting that.
If
we would have got him to step out and do
you gotta look at it like a basketball player. If you on year 3 and you putting up rookie year numbers, I'm come on.
If you getting buckets, you getting buckets though.
What if rookie year numbers is 20 and 10?
Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, but we've already said year 3 for this. If we're saying this is Gunna's year 3, we've already said it's not better than other projects. So he really deteriorated, in my opinion. He ain't doing nothing new. It wasn't better than nothing else. So I'm like,
Because it's not improving. He
my coach always said, if you ain't getting better, you're getting worse.
Oh, Lord.
We
Tired of hearing that same old mess.
high school coach.
So you saying
you give points for artists or artistry stepping outside its normal like realm.
I do give points for that, but that's not 100% of the way in. Like the album just felt flat to me. Like I don't understand. I'm not a producer, so I can't understand. Like I can't put into words what I'm trying to say, but it felt flat.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I shouldn't say it's skewed. I was just saying you're biased about it.
We're all biased. We're all just all our opinions.
I just want
all our opinions.
I just want to get this on the record. Which album is better in your opinion? Uzi's or?
I think Uzi's album is better than Gunna's album.
No, what about Uzi or Thugs?
I think Uzi's album is better than Thug's album. I think Gunna's album and Thug's album were both mediocre. I give them both like a C- C+ range.
And what you gave Uzi?
I think it's a B. B-, B. I think so.
Y'all ignore that background noise. I just got a little gas.
I mean, that's a good thing about opinion.
Like I wish we all
can have one.
But no, really, bro. I want you to listen to that album again.
I'm gonna have to listen again.
Listen
Yeah.
again, and I'm gonna send you like a list of songs specifically to like really listen to. Sometimes y'all don't be listening. Really listen.
Oh, we know about that. We know about that.
All right, so that was a lot. That was a lot. But hey, no, I love it. I love it. And this kind of leads into a bigger conversation, which is what we really want to get into, and that's the state of hip hop right now. You know, obviously, a lot of different questions are going to come up. Whether that's, I think the biggest one right now is just how rap music caters into, I'll say the black community, but just we can even say you know the culture right now as a overall. You know, some people going to lean more towards violent conversations. Some people say, you know, hey, stuff like Killer Mike's music is progressing the people forward. That's what people need to hear. But, you know, it's just always a constant back and forth. So let me ask y'all this. I'm going to put the question out. What do y'all feel the state of hip-hop is? And then out of that, do y'all think, you know, it's more detrimental or contributory, if you will, to the culture?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Eric was saying a little bit, yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, hip-hop was always about telling a story. So I feel like kind of from back to the NWA days to now, like with drill rappers and all this other stuff, like they're just telling a story about what's going on in their actual life and community and their side of town or what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's what hip-hop has always been. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we're just going through the, you know what I'm saying? We're just going through the eras of it. That's all it is. Like I don't really feel like we had a down part of hip hop. I just feel like this is just where we at right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I think hip hop is very. Eric, was you saying that hip hop can easily influence, or are you saying hip hop is very influenced?
That's what
I think it's honestly a mixture of both, but you can easily go to the first one that you said, easily influence, like what people do that becomes a phase.
For sure.
I was gonna say, I feel like hip hop is very influenced right now. Like you have like, you know, different outlets or whatnot that are pushing agendas for like certain artists. A lot of people think Ice Spice is an industry plant. You have different people that think about the industry plants as well. You have certain songs that when they get TikTok famous, like they're a hit.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of like factors and parts, and I feel like there's a formula to hip hop now. I feel like once you can like make a catchy song, once you can like, you know, get onto the scene or whatnot, you can, you know, pretty much write your own ticket. You can go anywhere you want to after that.
Right.
And I think that, you know, I feel like there's a lot of like similarities and like artists that are doing stuff right now. I think back to Playboi Carti. I know y'all big Playboi Carti fans. I never got.
Who is y'all?
You and
Me?
Eric.
I listen to Playboi. Playboi hard.
If you ain't listening to Playboi, you need to listen to Playboi.
Playboi hard, bro.
I can't get behind Playboi. Man.
I can't.
I can't either.
What?
I'm not gonna lie.
And you was hyping over
I'm not
this
gonna lie.
project, the mixtape.
Go ahead.
I think Destroy Lonely, Lucky, King Carson. What was that other dude by Travis Scott's label? Sofego. I feel like those are all kind of sons of the music that Uzi's making. And I feel like they're trying to do something they know that is popular. They know that it's going to get listens and spins and whatnot. If you want to go really back to it, you can go back all the way to Juice WRLD. Because Juice WRLD was kind of making like, I think someone said the SoundCloud era, like you can just put a song on SoundCloud.
For sure.
And it'll blow up. If you want to date it back to then, but I feel like...
Keep going back to the Young Thug, but yeah.
Is he going back against
That's the tree right there.
Destroy Lonely's.
You don't think it's all similar though? Like you don't think like these artists are making similar?
It's extremely similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a formula that like people are trying to follow, artists are trying to follow to get their, music to sell. And I feel like it's just saturating the music industry right now. So I feel like music is very experimental, but it's also being formulated to, do something that's popular, not so much do something that you genuinely want to make.
So I guess and the reason I feel like I'm sorry, did you want to go in?
Nah. Go ahead, ask your question.
Well, I guess the reason I was what kind of sparks out or sticks out to me the most is just the conversation of, simply put, there's an opportunity for some kind of damage within the storytelling. Because I agree that at the origin of it, everything was for storytelling. I just worry that a lot of times, like, you got songs like without defaming anybody directly, you got songs that's like promoting killing, like upping your body count.
Yeah, can I say something to that? Actually, I'm sorry.
Yeah, cool.
I don't think it's storytelling at this point.
That's what I was getting at.
I don't think it's storytelling. Like, we got
Define that.
one of the biggest rapper right now, like who's getting the most streams, hits, all of that. People that's concerts, Drake, who's an actor to his core. He's an actor to his core. The things he is saying he's doing, Drake's not doing.
All right.
Drake. Here's what I'm saying. It's not storytelling. Drake's music, his lyrics should not have talking about his life for real. He plays gangster. He plays Caribbean. He plays this. He plays like he from Memphis.
Disagree.
He plays all these things.
Yeah, I don't.
Are we serious?
No.
I'm not gonna lie.
You think Drake
I hear
catching bodies that he's saying in the lyrics?
I hear what you're saying, but I don't know. I feel like the way you spun that just now was very like Twitter. Like it was like
No,
you
hear
went
me out.
Twitter bottom me just now. Like that was just very like.
Hear me out. What I'm saying though, I think that's what everybody does though. Everybody says this is what people want to hear, and it's not storytelling. It's not always reflective of the life they are living. It's just what I think. This is what they want to hear. Back to his point of the formula, right? So it's not storytelling so much. It's like falsifying documents, damn near.
And
to get a job, like lying on a resume to get a job.
You're just speaking about Drake specifically.
No, I'm speaking about the rap game in general right now.
He's saying a lot of the rappers in the industry right now kind of play more into that.
They're making music that they genuinely want to watch.
I feel like at the end of the day, it always was a specific group that rapped. You know what I'm saying? Like gangster tough music or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like for years, everybody known if you have enough time to go to the studio, make a lot of good music, a lot of good records, and put it on a project and put it out and all that stuff. I'm not gonna say you're not the toughest, but you not. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You're not outside.
So let me ask you this though, because that's
Wait, so what you said?
this that ain't worried about no projects, no mixtapes, no release dates or nothing. You know what I'm saying? We all know people that are like that. So anybody that's like making music and rapping, it's not them specifically saying like, this is what I'm doing, this is my life.
I'm not saying
They could be talking about like everything surrounding them.
And I think that goes into storytelling. I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm not speaking like this is every single person who's in music. That's all I'm saying, right? Like we done seen people go to prison in recent months for doing stuff they rapping about.
Right.
The table ain't did nothing to you.
So I'm not saying it's like everyone. I'm just saying it's enough to where it's like a problem in my opinion.
Definitely a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely a problem.
A lot of like posers. We let a lot of people into.
It's entertainment at the end of the day.
So go into that.
I feel like everybody, we gotta understand, it's entertainment at the end of the day. That's what it is.
But so go into that though. I think you bring up a good point because like you got industry plants that come into the equation now because you could argue that a lot of that impressionability kind of gets, I would say, abused to an extent, and with that, it's people that see an opportunity to exploit that impressionability and drop somebody that's, you know, like the whole 6ix9ine situation, or even stuff that like.
What's your take on that? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, I just think that first of all, I think that because I'll be 100% honest. I didn't follow it after a while. But from what I did gather, from what I saw, I just think that like bruh had a whole lot of yes men behind him telling him what to do, and ultimately like like he not really safe nowhere he go for a long time, and that's really like, who want to live like that, you know? So, but I say that to say though, like, what's your take, or where do we place industry plants, or like,
Who are industry plants?
Yeah, who are industry
Yeah,
plants?
who are we speaking?
I'm asking.
What is an industry plant?
That's what I was gonna ask.
What is that?
What is it?
So I'm not going to defame or name nobody as far as like who I think is an industry plant per se, but
What are the qualities?
I'm gonna name somebody if I think that they can fit the qualifications.
yeah.
Okay.
Get yours, but I'm just saying.
That's what it ain't. Do what you can.
But I'm saying, like, I would consider an industry plant somebody that's like what Q was describing. They not rapping what they want to rap. They rapping what's gonna sell.
Bro, the definition of industry plant is largely accepted to mean an artist who presents themselves as being independent and doing things on their own terms, but secretly has an industry backing and money to fund them, and artificially shapes such a narrative.
Like I would argue that whole.
That's pretty on spot.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
pretty on spot.
But I can say a lot of artists fit that caliber.
That's what they were saying about Baby Keem, like way early on.
Really?
Absolutely. And so,
In
this is when he was.
context though? In what context?
Oh, he was Kendrick's like industry plant. Like he was just copying his sound, and that's like the reason why he's famous. And I was honestly under that impression when he first came in. Like, okay, he's doing his exact sound, but when you start listening to the music, you realize like there's like an identity to it. They're both in the same type of wavelength, but they both do it their own way. So I don't feel like overall there's anything wrong with being an industry plant. I don't really see like what the discourse is about it.
I feel like back in the day, that's how we were able to experience artists. Like, you gotta think, back in the day, it wasn't like how it is now.
Yeah.
Like, all the artists that we know about or whatever, like, they were industry plants. Like, you know what I'm saying? Technically, if that's how we, if that's the definition, because they would go find the artist, then push them. Nowadays, you gotta go to the labels with something to offer to the table.
Yeah.
They're like, what you streaming by yourself?
Yeah.
Do
Like
people listen
in
to
that
you?
sense, you could say like Eazy-E was an industry plant. Like,
For sure.
you know, like, by that definition, I get what you're saying, Sean. You can say that.
Eazy-E is crazy.
I'm just saying though. Think about it. But I see what you're saying though, so that makes a lot of sense, Sean.
I think another conversation that comes up when I think about industry plants, and it's maybe not so much of a plant, but just another add or jet off to the conversation of how this affects the culture, but more specifically black culture, bro. Like this is black people's baby. If nothing else is, hip hop music is black people's baby, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, truth be told, rock and roll, but I mean, like that's a whole history lesson that when it, like, you know, we don't want. I ain't trying to go down that narrative, but what I'm saying is,
You know something.
Rhythm.
what I'm saying.
You know something.
But what I'm saying is, on a serious note, like, do y'all feel like we've lost our footprint in hip hop? Because I feel like to an extent, somebody could argue, if you look at it on an overarching like perspective, like a lot of this don't really look like what it was intended to be or what it was originally designed for. I don't know.
I think from a legal standpoint and what's been going on in recent events with Thug and Gunna, I don't think it's ours anymore. Because now you have lyrics like being stood up on trial. You have, you know, people's, what they say in songs being held against them for, like, you know, what they're about to like get into as far as like prison time or whatnot. So I think now rap is getting turned into something where, you know, freedom of speech is not freedom of speech no more. Mm-hmm. Like what you say can be indicted against you or used against you as evidence. So I feel like in that sense, there's been a responsibility for like artists to be more conscious about, you know, the music they're making. But is it like really art if you have to like be wary of like, you know, what you can say, how you say it, and like, you know, what song you put it on? And I was gonna ask y'all, like, do you think there's a responsibility on like the black community for like the influence we have on our own lyrics and also like, you know, to the community we, like you were saying, like you're talking about killing it, talking about popping pills or whatnot, like do we have some responsibility or do the artists have responsibility in what this music is doing to children and how they're thinking and like, you know, what's even used against them in trial?
Well,
before while you putting your words together, I'll say this. You know how a lot of people say like the whole "I'm not your role model" type thing. They'll try to like put that out. I don't think that. I've never really resonated with that or subscribed to that, because no matter how you look at it, no matter how you want to shake it out, if you are somebody of influence or affluence and your face is a prevalent, you know, figure anywhere, you're somebody's role model. You can't do nothing about that. Whether you want to do it, Even if you don't ask for it,
sure.
you're like people look up.
tough.
People are leaning and listening to your every word, and that comes with a lot of responsibility. And if
Unwanted too, if it,
unwanted and sometimes undesired responsibility, but at the end of the day, like I feel like the fact that somebody could go out the door and say like I was impacted by this person's music or these lyrics and it made me do something negative, like knowing that for me at some point in time you're gonna have to check self and be like, hey bro, look, like I'm not doing this to try and be no influence, but because I see that it is now, I got to do better.
that's the difference between influence and making someone do something. Like I listen to this, like say, I just caught 5 ops in one day. All right, I listen to that. I want to catch 5 ops
I've been
in
listening
one day.
for sure.
Did I make you do that, or did I just tell you
No,
I did it? And
absolutely
you feel like
not.
you go do it?
Absolutely.
Now, I to your point, I don't think, and this is, I think I said something different before, but I disagree now hearing it because the media, whether it's video games, movies, music, all these things, there's always going to be negative impact.
I agree.
We can't cherry pick and say hip hop as one of them. And that's first of all, I want to say that hip hop gets a bad rap on that of being the only genre that has bad stuff in it.
For sure.
Listen to rock and roll. Listen to country music.
Listen to old school country music.
Yeah, like,
music can get
listen to
Listen
these
to that
other
old
genres.
school
This
country
stuff is there. The drug use, the violence, all these things. It's in those other genres too. So
It was just like shine on us for some reason.
the light is always shine on us. And I'm also say, and I told you I saw it in that damn that goddamn tank in there.
Goddamn.
He let that twang off on that motherfucker.
So that damn, there was a tank interview I saw.
That Mississippi out.
Hear me out. When he was speaking about R&B music, right? He was speaking about R&B music. He was talking about how in R&B music, black love don't sell no more. Like it don't sell, right? He's like, go ahead. What you about to say?
I said, what do you mean?
He was saying like,
He being Tank, not me, by the way. So
I get what you're saying, Quan. I feel like they're in R&B music. Like, if you want to take it back, let's talk about like Kim or Chrisette Michele and stuff like that. Our music, Soul Child, like it was a glorification of our love for one another or how much I love you.
Yeah.
And I feel like, for example, you want to do Brent Faiyaz and let's talk about Wasteland. Like that type of R&B is completely different from there. So I think that might be what he was alluding to.
yeah, he's saying it doesn't sell anymore, and it's like it's not cool, it's not popular, and things like that, right? Like, and you can talk about different reasons of why it's not, and I don't get into that, but I have my own theories. But you know, like, but it doesn't sell, and I think the same thing as far as like uplifting, you know, the black community, uplifting youth, like positive. And I'm a victim of it. I ain't gonna lie. I hate conscious rap. I don't listen to conscious rap. It's boring to me. It's boring to me. I don't like it.
But you listen to Uzi.
That's because it was conscious rap.
But like
I get
I
it.
think that it's intentionally designed for that to not be what is popular. Because at the end of the day, we control the culture, yes, but we don't control hip hop. Like, let's be honest. There's a few black artists who have a little bit of money, and even compared to the people who are really running the media and things like that and running these things, really don't have that much money and that much power for real, for real. You see that with Kanye, how his money got snatched like that.
if you keep tapping on the table, you're
My
gonna
bad.
mess up the audio.
He's really passionate about it.
But yeah, you see how they snatch Kanye stuff like that. So I'm just saying, like, we don't have as much power in that we think
So
we
the
do.
consensus I'm hearing is that you feel like we don't own hip hop. Is that what you're saying? Black people don't own hip hop. The culture does not.
We push the culture, but we're just influencers almost. We're almost influencers for a brand.
Eric, Eminem is the highest selling rap artist in hip hop.
If you want to look at the
Eminem
numbers,
is Caucasian, right?
for
He
sure.
is. He is.
So to answer your question, we definitely don't own it. If the highest selling rapper in the genre we created is white,
There's no. If you had.
We gotta check that. We gotta check that stat.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I don't know.
That is true. There are other things that we hold the value. Like, for
sure.
example, the Grammys. That might be something that you hold the value.
Yeah,
for.
no.
choose when we vote.
The second one is the court of
We
public
are not.
opinion.
We are not about to walk past this statement. What? I need to see some receipts on that.
Oh, Eminem? Yeah,
Yeah, is that factual?
yeah.
Is he?
Hold up. While Jay-Z is arguably one of the most successful rappers in history, Eminem still tops the list as the best-selling rapper.
Do you know why?
We do not.
But
Why are we listening to Eminem?
listen to what I'm saying though.
Why are we listening to Eminem?
Are black people the majority in the world? No,
Definitely not. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely
Hip hop is
not.
popular
So you
music.
got-
Whatever's popular, that's
for
more than
sure.
just us.
And people gonna listen to more. They gonna listen to most artists they can relate to. You know what I'm saying? So to the average
What is Eminem saying?
white kid,
The
they might
palms
be
are sweaty,
listening to
knees weak,
Eminem.
arms
I
are
don't
heavy,
know.
put it on his sweater already.
The point I'm making is, like, I just feel like with this point, we are damn near like just influencers for a brand that is not even really ours. We don't own nothing. It's like we're workers in the jump. Like, we're just workers. We're employees in it.
Yeah.
For sure.
From that first episode.
Black people get paid off of sweat. Remember that.
You listening somehow.
Black
But
people,
yeah, for real.
Black people get paid off of sweat.
So if that's the case, though, then how do you, like, and I can ask you this perspective because you in management. You know what I'm saying? And then even taking that outside of the.
Oh, he talking to me, ain't it?
Who you managing?
He talking to me.
Oh, go ahead. I mean, yeah, go ahead and plug. I mean, you want to give a quick plug? Go ahead and
Slim
plug.
Dev, you know, y'all know who Slim Dev is.
Yeah, you know.
We gonna get to that. We gonna get to that.
We're gonna get him on here. We're gonna get him on here in a little bit
Tap
too.
in.
And but from a management perspective, like it's red tape you got to go through, it's conversations that you got to have that you probably feel like you shouldn't have to have just off the strength of like the post because you are the culture, you are part of the culture. How you gonna like if we had a point where it's lost? What like is there any reclamation in that point? Because I would hate to feel like. We in a game that's ours or that we created, but we ain't got the control over like.
That's the world, though, bro. Our culture is the most disrespected culture. Like, specifically, like, African American culture is the most disrespected culture. Like, people say we don't have culture, we don't have this, and we just talked about like hip hop being like pop music, and like when you look at the styles that come from hip hop and how worldwide it is.
Feel like Stevie Wonder with the
I'm acting like Caleb. But no,
I get what you're saying.
But you see what I'm saying? It's like the most disrespected. Like people absorb it and take it in and innovate it and all those things, and then it is like I don't know who I got it from though.
But I feel like that speaks to the resiliency of black people in our culture. Just look at how hip hop's evolved.
I agree.
Let's just go back to 2013, that blog era, whatever they call it, and just look at where hip hop is now. Like I feel like regardless of how we're looking at this glass half full, like we have continued to show that we're going to continue to just push the landmark, push the barrier of what hip hop is. It's constantly changing, so I don't feel like we're really losing out. We just find different ways to continue to create and express ourselves.
I also think that yes, hip hop is a genre for sure, but I feel like it's
Captain Obvious.
I feel like it's gotten so big though.
This brother's
Like it's completely different to the scale of hip hop compared to the 80s compared to 2023 is completely different. Like we got like you were saying earlier, we got subgenres and everything. Like it's one of the premier music genres for a reason. Like it's not just by chance. Like you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of music genres out there, but hip hop is always in the top 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of crazy when you think about it. So majority of people are listening to hip hop. So for sure, if we're gonna get to the technicalities, like of course we all know who own the labels. It's not us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we have the opportunity to tell our story. Like we were saying earlier, like at the end of the day, we make the music.
Yeah.
So that's what people gonna be attached to is the music.
Do we?
Yeah.
So we have an opportunity to tell our story, but like you just said, they own the labels. So at
But
the
that's,
same time,
if you want to go that route. Just look at somebody like Brent Faiyaz. He's doing that junk on his own, and he's collaborating with the label. So it just depends on what route you want to take.
I get what you're saying, but also there's, in my opinion, right, hear me out, on an extreme case level, right, you can only still get so far in the sense of if you're saying certain things that you really you still have to censor yourself because you don't. Brent Faiyaz does not own TV outlets or you know what I'm saying. He doesn't own these things, so he still can only say so much. You know what I'm saying? So in the sense of like you have to still cater to what is allowed by people who are running these labels and running the media and things like that. That's extreme. I'm just saying. It's extreme. I'm just saying.
You can say he kind of is an industry plant as far as like the toxic.
Dang, you call everybody industry plant.
No, I'm just saying, like, bro, you don't think he catered his music to the toxic label that he was labeled as, like when he started calling him toxic?
For sure.
Nah, I don't.
I feel like I just feel like he's fed into it a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Kind of just like
It's
with
hard,
Future.
though.
For sure.
I was gonna ask, like, bro, do you? So, what do you think is the responsibility of the artist that makes these music as storytelling versus it's just them like expressing themselves. Like, how much responsibility does an artist have on the community that him or her damages or improves? Like, are we only talking about when they tell, niggas to catch ops and like, shoot shit? Or are we talking about the positive stuff that they talk about too? Like, you can't separate the two. If they're talking about good stuff, you have to talk about the whole entirety of it. For sure. But
I think they have to have both. But it's hard to put a number. Like, I know you're not asking for like a specific number, but I feel like there is a weight of responsibility. Like, you do need to be accountable for what you are saying, because regardless of if you you just can't be a rock star and then not want to like deal with the repercussions of that. Like, regardless of what type of genre of your music in. Like, if you're influencing, you have an audience, so it's your obligation to make sure that whatever you're saying, it can still be in the same realm of what you're talking about, but you just have to be held responsible for what you're saying. So whatever message you have has to be articulated correctly.
So if I'm say I'm gonna use like an XXX or a Juice WRLD in this example. If I say in a song, I popped 30 pills yesterday to just ease the pain. That's wild. And 30 kids all popped 30 pills because they said they listened to my song. Am I responsible for those kids dying? Or am I just telling you that I pop pills, this helped me get through the pain, and
I can feel what you're saying. I feel like in that scenario that you said, like X, for example, like he was saying that multiple times. So I feel like you could argue he's advocating for that type of culture. So I feel like from there you could be liable. You could be held responsible for that. In a sense.
Shouldn't though.
You shouldn't be. You're not held responsible for making them pop the pills, but you're just speaking about that culture as if it's like acceptable. And I feel like that can rub off, and that's where it becomes impressionable.
I feel like at the end of the day, music is spiritual. We have to remember that. Like,
we'll talk about that for a little bit.
Music is spiritual, bro. Like, it's just like how we can listen to
Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
Just how we can listen to Alaikum salam. Just like we can listen to, just like how we can listen to, like, when I had to show respect. Like, come on. He threw it out, like, come on, like, I gotta show respect. But like I was saying, like, just how we can listen to When I See You by Fantasia. And we automatically, like, get those feelings or feel what she was, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like what you were saying, like, of course it's telling a story, but when you put something on wax, like, I just feel like people gonna be attracted to it, and I feel like people gonna,
100%.
What y'all boys got going on?
I thought you were gonna say something like, when you put something on wax, you took me to the climax. I thought you about to drop some fire. I'm not gonna lie. I'm about to say something.
But I had to. I was about to say something though. I was like, yeah.
What you about to say?
Let me reel it back. I was trying to find the best way to say it. Was what I was about to say. So many words.
Cute face had you weak. I couldn't hold it.
Hey, I was expecting some fire. I'm gonna be like, damn. Spit.
It's a rated original.
So we came to the consensus that like it's not ultimately.
I feel like art is not art if it's restricted.
Yeah,
you should restrict yourself.
Derek, I'm sorry. I got to, bro. I'm so sorry. I got one thing to say. I'm sorry. Derek said I can't talk about white supremacy on this episode, and I got to. The system is set up intentionally. Would you guys agree? Black people should be on the bottom because of racism.
Say that again.
Because of racism, right, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Eric. So because of that,
Eric,
when you look at history and things like that, when you look at Bob Marley, why Bob Marley was such a threat, because Bob Marley was preaching black love, black unity, black this, black that. He was preaching those things, and he literally got killed by the CIA. So like,
there's multiple people that got killed by the CIA.
Literally, music is one of the most powerful things on the planet. Because it's spiritual. It's one of the most powerful things on the planet. It's a powerful weapon, a powerful tool. So you have to control it and be able to control people. Right. So in the capitalistic system of America, designed to keep poor people poor, black people poor, people of color poor, all those things, you have to control our culture. You have to control our music. You have to control those things.
Have y'all watched They Clone Tyrone?
That's what I was about to ask.
That's pretty much described exactly what he's saying.
That shit is gas.
You ever watched it?
So
if you haven't watched it,
matter
of fact, I don't even speak too much.
Yeah,
it's fire, bro.
Well, folks,
but everything you're describing is,
if y'all ain't watched it, y'all ain't tapped.
Yeah,
you watched it?
Yeah.
You watched this, Lil? Yeah,
that shit fire.
You gotta watch that.
Do you think the government controls us, or there's some control from the government?
I think that we are pawns in a bigger chess game. And I'm not gonna try and talk too lofty. I'm not gonna try and talk too lofty, but I just feel like there's like when you go down the rabbit hole of things that are kind of like pulling the puppet strings of the the economy, of the like infrastructure of America, of a lot of different things. Like at the end of the day, you'll stress yourself out
Right.
trying to figure out just who is really running what. And at the end of the day, I think that my ultimate responsibility, you an alcoholic. Now you should be ashamed of yourself. My ultimate responsibility, I feel like anybody's ultimate responsibility with influence is to just know that you have it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily saying that means you have to do it this way or that way. But at the end of the day, bro, if you know somebody gonna have eyes on you for like even with whether it's a pod, y'all know y'all the things y'all do in the community, whether that's the toy drives, whether that's, you know what I'm saying, any of the giveaways that y'all have done in the past, stuff like that. It comes from the simple fact that y'all have gotten responses from people who also have people, a lot of times littler people around them. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being the case, that don't necessarily change how y'all move, but that does give y'all more context of who y'all are reaching. And I think that these artists, everyone that we didn't name, is fully aware of that as well. And with that being the case, if you know that and you go into your music and you go into these album drops and you hear some stuff and it's like, hey, that sound kind of, I don't know, and you drop that motherfucker anyway, then you prepare to live with that.
I think we're just as responsible as the artist. Us as now.
And that was going to be my last question. That was going to be my last question. And it was just simply like, it's not always about who's making it, but it's also about what you let in. I noticed like when I think everybody has taken a social media hiatus before, and you know how like much of a like you just kind of feel like your shoulders can gotta drop because you just don't feel the pressure don't be there as much, all of that stuff like that. I feel like that also plays into what goes through your gates, your eye gates, your ear gates. You know what I'm saying? And music videos or just the sound of it in general. Like you can control what you are listening to. So does that then is it more on us as the consumer ultimately on what we listening to?
I think there's more responsibility on the consumer versus the artist if we're like comparing who has the most of the burden. Like you can listen to something and it can influence you, but you don't have to go out and try to live that in your next step or whatever. Like I feel like there's a level to it where you can take it in as like an aesthetic or an atmosphere. But once you leave the atmosphere, you leave it there. You have to keep a level of groundedness with you as you listen to music or whatever you're embarking with entertainment. You got to separate fantasy from reality.
Let me ask you this, bro. Do you think Travis Scott was responsible for those people dying at Astroworld?
I was going to ask you this earlier too. I'm glad we connected here. I don't think he was. I don't think he caused that. I don't think he caused that, but obviously he did feel as if there was a level of responsibility he had with that.
For
so
sure.
I feel like that's where it weighs in. It's not like you have to go out and personally, let me pay your medical bill, let me check up on you, blah, 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 blah. But there has to be a level of accountability you have to have. I'm not saying it has to be at the top.
Travis Scott's perspective.
Yeah, from his perspective, yeah. But even with music itself, like whatever you're pushing out, whatever your platform that you're pushing out, you have to be held accountable for that. So in your question, I do think he should be.
You think Travis Scott's responsible for those 10 people dying at Astroworld?
What do we mean by responsible? Like,
I said
are we
accountable.
Yeah,
Not responsible.
I feel like
Like a lot of people think that
it's his fault.
It's his fault.
No.
It's his fault. No, but
Because it happened in his environment.
yeah, it happened at his show.
His
so
set.
we gotta.
That's not fair.
that's not fair at all.
What I'm saying.
that's
what
why-
I'm
If,
saying.
if
I'm
there's
not
a
saying
mass
he's
shooting at a
responsible.
school to be extreme, it's not on the principal's fault. It's not the principal's not like.
How would the principal
That's
be involved in that?
completely.
But I'm saying all he does is he
guess
does
he's
not
saying
book the space. He just shows up to perform.
He's
For
a figurehead.
sure.
He's literally just the figurehead. He doesn't have any control of what's going on there.
Okay, but let's break it down. Let's give more context. Travis Scott is still in the range of, what is it called? Raging music, moshing music, and stuff like that. His type of genre of hip hop does invoke some of that. So just by having his music out there, knowing that he creates that, that's level of accountability there. He's not responsible for everybody raging or moshing and whoever gets hurt, but he does create rage or mosh music.
So I want to touch back on what you said, right? So I think it might touch on this too. So you said it's responsibility on the consumer to know what we're consuming. And you have to know what is fantasy and what is real. When I said the responsibility is on us, I meant on us as older people. Like a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 3-year-old, they can't determine just yet maybe what's real, what's fictional. People talk all the time like we don't have MLKs no more, we don't have Malcolm X's no more. People don't have black people to look up to. We have other black people besides rappers and athletes to look up to today.
Dr. Umar
Right.
Johnson.
For sure.
Definitely.
Charleston White.
Definitely not y'all. We had Kevin Samuel for a minute too.
Come on now, Kevin Samuel.
But no, for real, we have other people to look up to.
For real.
I was thinking like Kentaji Brown.
Samuel.
I was thinking like Kentaji
Bro,
Brown.
this man trying to be.
To the point of the responsibility of us, we have that as consumers and also to point younger generations to role models outside of that BS, which we know is oftentimes or sometimes at least BS, and to be those role models outside of BS, right? Like if you're a dad, why is the man your kid is looking up to Young Thug? Not to be an asshole, but like, you know what I'm saying? As a dad, as a granddad, as an uncle, as a brother, as whatever, right? Why are they looking up to Young Thug who's talking about BS instead of you? So you have to play that role for them, right? You know what I'm saying? That's my take on it. So that's the responsibility we have as well.
Yeah. I feel like you could get into parenting as far as like that responsibility, because that's an entire can of worms right there. But gatekeeping as far as like what hip hop is in the culture, I know what I'm about to say might sound like it's contradicting, but I feel like that struggle, all of that, it's a part of hip hop. I feel like that's a story to tell. And as much as you want to like get away from it, like this is real life. And just as bothering as this can be for one person, it could be healing for another.
Ooh.
So I don't know. It's just really the way we want to look at it.
Music is very emotional, bro. You gotta think like a lot of times when people are making music, they're in certain emotions. So you know what I'm saying? Like
That's real.
they could be listening to it in that, like we all listen to. Like a lot of people say they don't like Rod Wave, but the ones that like Rod Wave obviously been through something specific that they could, you know what I'm saying? That they could relate to Rod Wave with in that moment. Like I hear a
Rod
lot of
Wave
people,
had a beehive.
you know what I'm saying? Come on now.
You know what to believe.
Hey, we done. Wait, look. Listen, y'all. Hey, look, like, share, subscribe. We're gonna be back with another one. I'm gonna let you.
Tryna change the way I'm living, I know this shit wrong. Glad they free my nigga, only seen him on the phone. Shit got real, I almost lost my life, thought it was gone. I was tryna make a move and I almost ain't making home.